Hola, mi gente, and welcome to Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho. This short form podcast features the stories of Latinos from our community, from engineers, business owners, students, and so much more. Each episode will give you a quick boost of motivation and encouragement before starting your day. I'm your host, Sonia Camacho. Thank you for being here. Now let's get into today's episode. All right, so this is the very first episode of Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho. I'm just warning you guys right now, I don't have a script. I want to keep it really real with you guys, so let's just get into this. Like you heard from the intro, the idea of this podcast is to keep it under 10 minutes. I want to interview Latinos from all different backgrounds who work in different industries and just have a niche or advice that they want to share with the listeners. It's really designed to be short form content that you can put on while you're cooking breakfast, while you're putting on your makeup, driving to work, walking to class. And I also want you to share your story. I want this to be something where you can DM me and then I'll feature you on an episode. I want it to be very collaborative and inclusive. So definitely follow us on social media at Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho or reach out to me on my personal Instagram, Sonia_Macho. I would be happy to feature as many of you as possible. And I'm really excited for this project to come to life. If you don't follow me on social media, I recently went to the SHEP National Convention where I spent a lot of time with some other content creators. They know who they are. Shout out to you guys. And I left feeling so inspired, and I knew I just wanted to do more with my social media. And I know this podcast is going to be a great way to share our stories, but also connect with our community. So thank you so much for being here in this first episode. And I'm going to get into a little bit about me now. Okay, so like I said, I'm Sonia Camacho. I'm your host, and I just want to give you some background about who I am and what I do. So I'm currently 23 years old, living in Oregon, working at Nike as an engineer. My journey into STEM started quite early in high school. In high school, my mom encouraged me to take the Intro to Engineering course. I was reluctant. I didn't want to be seen as a nerd. You know what they say in the movies, that you're unpopular, blah, blah, blah. But I did it and I truly fell in love with it. I took almost all of the engineering courses that were offered. And when it came time to pick a major for college, I had done 3 semesters of computer science, so it just seemed like a great fit. Going into college, I went to Oregon State University for my undergrad in computer science systems, and I also did my master's there where I got a master's of engineering in computer science. But anyway, I started my undergrad, and you guys, school was not very easy for me. So I have pretty bad ADHD, so when it comes to focusing or understanding a really hard concept, it just takes a little bit longer for me. So even though I struggled a lot in school, I was extremely persistent. I always say I was super fortunate to have a sister who was in the STEM space. She was studying mechanical engineering at Oregon State at the time, so I had a built in best friend for everything. But the minute that she graduated, I realized I had no one to go to ask, how do I waitlist for a class? Where do I go for the engineering print? And that was a major wake up call to me to think that other people don't have a sister in STEM. So that's what I set out to be, and that's why I started my social media and content creation journey. I really wanted to be the big sister for someone else. So it was my sophomore or junior year of college. I decided I'm going to stop posting pictures of me at frat parties and instead I'm going to use my social media for educational content, advice, etc. So I really started on YouTube and Instagram. I was posting coding tutorials and day in my lives, really just anything that would explain what I was going through as a Latina in computer science and then also just general education advice. So basically when I was a sophomore in college, I started my content creation journey. And then when junior year came, that's usually the year that most people are looking for internships, right? So I obtained an internship with Macy's Technology. I was going to be doing software engineering for them, but that was the same year that COVID happened. So that internship actually got canceled. And in that same year, I had applied for basically a bunch of apparel companies to be a software engineer for them because I have a true passion for fashion and style. And I knew that I still wanted to be in STEM and in tech. So I was trying to find a way that I could combine both my interests. I applied to Nordstrom, Kohl's, Nike, Macy's, and I actually got rejected from almost all of them except I think Macy's and Kohl's. And then, like I said, because it was canceled, I didn't have an internship. So I was out of luck my junior year. And most people say, if you don't have that junior year internship, you're kind of screwed because when it comes to a full time offer, how are you going to get it if you didn't have an internship? You have no experience. So I was kind of freaking out, right? So I needed to find a way to have one extra summer so I could have that internship experience before going into the real world. So at my school, Oregon State University, they do an accelerated master's program where basically in your senior year of school, you can be a hybrid master's student. And then you only have to stay one extra year to complete your master's. So that would give me that extra summer. So that's what I applied to. And I got accepted. It was like the best day of my life. and I was going for a master's of engineering in computer science. So from my junior year to my senior year, I had enough time to study up for all of my internship applications, and I actually got offers from every single company that I applied for, namely Nordstrom and Nike. So that was an amazing situation to be in. Those were my top two companies. And being in a position of having to decide between those two was an amazing feeling. Obviously, I went with Nike, and I'm so glad that I did because it led me to where I am today. So, anyway, in the summer of 2021, I did an internship as a software engineer for Nike. I worked on the digital employee experience team, basically dealing with all of our internal websites. Can't really say much about it because it was a bunch of internal work, but I had the best time ever. It was virtual, but I knew it was just such a great company from the little bit of experience that I got during the internship. And so I worked really hard and they actually extended a return offer. So when I went back for that last year to complete my master's, I already had accepted my full time role. And so that was like extreme motivation to just get my master's done. So basically, I go back to school for 1 year. And like I said, I was getting a master's of engineering in computer science. But in reality, I wasn't actually doing that much coding. I took a lot of human computer interaction classes. Then those teach you about like inclusive design and website design and why we do the things that we do and how we can make them better for the majority of people. And that's where I really found some of my interests and passions. And I realized, I think I want to be in the tech space, but not necessarily coding 9 to 5. I think I can do something a little bit more creative and design focused because at the time as a student, content creation was my only creative outlet, right? So I was working and I was coding and I was really draining myself, but content creation was a way for me to really express myself and do what I love on the side. And so I was able to really learn some other creative skills. And I'm just really excited to see where they take me in my career. Okay, so I finished my master's in the summer of 2022. So, up until this point of the story, to keep you guys following, we have talked about high school, college, internship, and my master's program. And that leads me to where I am today in my full time role at Nike. So, currently, I'm a rotational engineer. And what that means is because I came from the internship in the tech space, they put me in a rotational program. So, I basically do 3 6-month internships before I decide which team I want to be on for sure. And like I explained to you guys in my master's program, I was slowly getting away from coding and looking at the different avenues that tech has to offer. So, in this rotational program that I'm in, I'm really interested in looking at the different positions that don't necessarily involve coding, that still connect me with tech and the developers, but maybe allow me to use a bit more of my design skill or my business savvy side skills. So, as I'm recording this on December 16th, I'm only 3 months into my first rotation, and I'm currently working as a technical product manager. And basically, I just work with the software and I work with a few different teams. I work with a business side team, and they tell us, hey, our users are having issues with the software. And then we tell the developers, hey, the business is having issues with the software. How can we fix it? So we're basically in meetings all day looking for new problems and figuring out how to solve them. So, like I said, there's no coding, lots of meetings. I'm still connected to the developers and the tech side, but I'm also really getting an insight into our consumers and the business side of things. I don't know what my next few rotations are going to be, but I can tell you that I've expressed to them that I have an interest for creative and design work and a little bit less on the coding side. I will definitely keep you guys updated in our episodes as we go about my different job updates. I'm thinking I'll do some bi-weekly episodes where I interview people, and then on the off weeks, if I have any updates, I'll release a bonus episode in a month that just talks about me and how I'm doing. So that's a little bit about me and my career and where I am today. Like I said, I'm going to try and do some episodes on the off weeks where I'm not interviewing people so you guys can get to know me and my hobbies, and I can just tell you stories from work. I'm just so excited to be sharing this with you guys and especially sharing the stories of others. So stay tuned for more, and thank you so much for joining us. I will see you guys in the next episode. Follow the podcast on all social platforms at Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Want to be featured in a future episode? Email cuéntame.sonia@gmail.com. Thank you to our equipment sponsor, Shure.